Well, hello there. I've not been doing videos for quite some time, and I thought when I had some time, I'll pick it up using. I'm doing a video on how to use Power Automate. So if you guys already don't know about this, you should definitely check out the Microsoft Power Platform. It's a huge productivity booster, and it sort of brings that automation and um, um, machine learning, etc., to the day-to-day work that we do, and makes it easy for people who are not tech savvy to use all of these things. And I think it sort of changes that Office ecosystem itself, right? So I mean, you can automate sort of anything that you do in an office. Like for example, how to send a mail, or automate sending of a Teams message, setting up a meeting, connect to different office applications in cloud and desktop and all those things. But it's the possibilities are virtually endless, right? So yeah, I just wanted to show you a demo of one process that I had tried recently, where you can sort of transfer the records of learnings that you created into an Excel stored online. You can do this using xAPI or data connections and all those things, but Power Automate makes it very easy to do this, and you can also almost capture any type of data and send it to an Excel, or in fact anywhere you want using Power Automate, and it's very easy, right? So let's start. We'll start by creating a flow in Power Automate. Right? We'll start with an instant cloud flow, and this is how it works, right? So there is a trigger, and the trigger starts an action. It's as simple as that, right? I'm just going to add my flow name, storyline to Excel, because we are going to use a tool called Articulate Storyline, which is a tool that usually is used to create e-learnings, right? And this is what people take using an LMS, right? So so how the flow is going to be triggered, right? We are going to use when an HTTP request is received, right? So what we're trying to do here is so we have an Excel sheet set up in a SharePoint site, right? And this is my personal Microsoft 365 account, right? So you see that this Excel is set up sort of as a dashboard to capture the name of the learner, the email ID of the learner, the test score, and the time of completion of the test, right? And somebody will be taking this e-learning outside in an LMS or in a standalone environment, and that data needs to be captured in the Excel sheet. That's what we're trying to achieve, right? So we go to Power Automate, and I'm going to select the trigger as when an HTTP request is received. Right. And you can see that already that the user interface is very straightforward, very easy to understand, non-cluttered, right? So we are going to so you need to create the schema. So we are going to send the HTTP request in the JSON format, and this trigger needs to understand the schema of the request that we are going to send across, and you can either type that across, or you can use a sample JSON data to create the schema. Microsoft creates it automatically, right? So this is the JSON format that we're trying to use. So you see that there is a name, value, email value, score, and time, right? Exactly in the format that we're trying to capture here, right? So I'll copy this and use the sample payload to generate schema option to paste the data, right? And you see that the tool automatically creates a schema based on the data that you pasted, right? So it has string type for the name, email, and time properties, and score, the integer for the score property, right? So this trigger is done. Now once the tool gets an HTTP request in the JSON format, it has to parse the JSON, right? So that's going to be your next step. There is a parse JSON action available. Select that, and again use the same JSON data that we have to create a schema, right? Now the last action is to once the HTTP request is received and the JSON is parsed, then a new row needs to be added in the Excel, right? So select that action, Excel Online. We go to add a row into a table, select that, right? And now you select the Excel that we have added, and like I said, I have added it in my personal SharePoint site, right? So select the site name and navigate to the document library, select the Excel, yeah. So if you see once you select the table, right, the tool automatically fills in the names of the columns, right? If you see, these are the columns that we have added, and it's automatically has taken into those as the column names here, right? And then this is again very interesting. You can see that it's actually using the schema that you have added here to suggest what JSON value needs to go into each columns, right? For example, so name of the learner, I'm going to select name, email ID, email, test score, and time of completion as time, right? So you can see it makes it so easy to connect fields as well, right? Cool. I just go and check if everything is correct. Yeah, so you just need to select this what is the content in the parse JSON action. It will be taken from the body part of the HTTP request that we are sending. So we're setting it as body, and this looks all right, and this looks all right as well. I do want to say that some of these actions are not available with the standard Office 365 subscription. For example, the HTTP request received actioned. This is part of the Office 365 premium subscription. So I just wanted to say that in fact, if you are going to use these actions, we need to go for a premium subscription. Cool. I think now this looks okay, and you see that the URL is not yet generated, but once you save this flow, it will be generated. Cool. So now you have the endpoint to which the HTTP request needs to be sent. Cool. So now we go back to storyline, right, and create an assessment, and then we'll see how to send an HTTP request to this Power Automate flow from storyline. Yeah, so I'm not going to go in detail into storyline or how to create content and all that, but it's pretty straightforward. We have a screen where the name and the email ID can be captured, and then we have 5 questions, and towards the last screen is where we are going to send the HTTP request. using JavaScript, right? And the JavaScript that we are going to use is this. And again, I'll be adding this code in a link below the video, so check that out. The only thing I want to say is the URL that we are going to use is what we have here, the endpoint that we have from the flow. I'm going to copy that and paste this as the endpoint URL for the request, right? And now we can copy this and create a trigger to execute JavaScript, which is what we have pasted here, right? When the timeline starts off this slide. So essentially the JavaScript will fire once the course is at this screen, right? And now let's publish a web module. Okay, so we have our course now. It's nothing fancy, it's just for demo, so don't mind that. I'm just going to make this appear towards this side of the screen, and the Excel that we are sending the data to towards this side, and so that we can see the response. You obviously see that the Excel is empty because we haven't sent in any data yet. Let's start by typing in a name and an email ID .com, and then let's click through the correct answers. So this is the last question, and what should happen in the next screen is the HTTP request should fire using the JavaScript code that we had added, and the data that we are sending across should appear in the Excel, right? The name that we have added and the email ID and the score that we are getting from the course, which should be 100%, right? And the time that I am completing the quiz, right? So let's see that's appearing, and I'm clicking here, and anytime now, yes, see that the name that we have added, the email ID, the test score, and the time that I'm taking this is here. So you see that how easy this is, right? And there are so many things that you can do, right, using Power Automate. Yeah, so that was it, and I'm adding the code that I have used below the video, so feel free to check that out. And yeah, and I'm thinking of making this channel live again and trying to post videos in a much closer frequency, right? So yeah, keep an eye out. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.